Who are you, Two-Face? We're done with your ghoulish games.
Then you shouldn't have come here.
These videos are not for children. If you're a children, then piss off.
Hey there, it's me, your least favorite YouTuber, Infuso. And I've recently talked about the follow-up to the 1966 Batman show, Batman. So what better way to follow that up than by talking about the follow-up to the follow-up? I'm talking, of course, about Batman vs. Two-Face, a movie that should be pretty significant to the Batman 66 lore, as this would mark the first appearance of the secondary titular character in the continuity. Unless you're a comic book fan, because in which case this completely different take on the character would be his first appearance, but, you know, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. The 1966 show was so campy that it managed to feel more like a cartoon than the actual cartoons that would later be adapted. And because this was just good old, clean, goofy fun, it was decided by the higher-ups that the character of Two-Face shouldn't make the cut. So, he was cut, never once entering into this Batman's Rogues Gallery. Though there was apparently a script written for the character in mind, and they even had aspirations of having Clint Eastwood of all people play the role. But that would never come to pass. Once again, unless you're a comic book fan, in which case it was the exact story that was adapted for the comic. And it was also Clint Eastwood's likeness that was used for the character. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself because that comes later. Today we're going to take a look at Two-Face's first outing in this timeline of events. Like the movie that came before it, I find this incredibly true to its source. Not only do they have the 3 returning cast members from the previous movie, but there's also even a cameo from Lee Merriweather, who was Julie Newmar's temporary replacement in the first ever Batman movie. Here, Catwoman tricks her character into swapping places with her, and nobody is none the wiser. I love this cute, clever little shout out. To whoever came up with this bit, my cowl is off to you, sir. Other old school characters who made cameos in the first animated feature also return here in a little bit more prominent of roles. Batman and Robin encounter King Tut, and after a battle we even get to see his trial. Afterward they go toe-to-toe with the Bookworm and his assistant. This movie, like the movie that came before it, also ends with another big battle of brutes and baddies taking on the Bat. It's pretty much ripped straight out of the end of the last movie, but it's still welcome. There's of course references riddled throughout the runtime, including Batman dropping the line he used in his first ever comic book appearance.
And here I thought only criminals were a superstitious lot.
And even recreating the classic Batman smack memed around the world. In addition to returning cast, they also have returning tropes and gags, including Robin being sickened by Batman's fascination with Catwoman. It's like every time they're about to kiss, he looks like he's about to hurl. I never understood this, because I think it makes Robin look more like a scorned lover than it does a ward. I think the intention was always that Robin was allegedly young, so Batman's, well, let's call them mature feelings for women is icky. But like, Robin, you're too old looking to be acting this young. Although here, they also clarify that it's not just Batman's relationship with women that Robin's intimidated by, because he also has similarly negative feelings about Harvey Dent.
Okay, I got 2 theories.
1, Aunt Harriet was actually onto something. Or 2, Robin's just an insecure little jerk who's jealous of everyone his mentor shares time with. I like this series, but a lot of the time I have a hard time liking Robin in the series. Let me go on record saying that this is probably my least favorite Robin, so when thinking of Jason Todd, I'm just looking at this Robin saying,
the wrong kid died.
The movie also keeps the simple and sometimes stupid logic of the original, like having a machine that can physically suck the evil out of someone's soul. 'Cause, you know, of course. Why bother complicating things with reality? I know it sounded condescending when I just said that, but I actually genuinely mean it. This continuity should never be connected to the real world in any way, shape, or form. In terms of what's new, this movie has a lot to offer. They surprisingly simplified and downplayed the darkness of Two-Face to better align him with the canon. and I actually think it works wonders. William Shatner is a pretty inspired choice for the character, as I think he could have been an actual contender for the role back in the day. Like Adam West, he was a star made due to his major role on a hit TV show, and he was a big name during the time of the original series run. William Shatner would have been a great addition back then, and he's a pretty good one now. And let's make it clear, this character doesn't just have Shatner's voice, he also has Shatner's face. Well, half of it. Now, this movie does a very interesting thing with its opening. It sets up the Two-Face character by introducing Harvey Dent and immediately going into his villainous origin story. Then it allows the opening credit sequence to showcase the character's nefarious schemes, and this opening kind of solidifies him as villain and molds him into the franchise lore. This is a really good way of making your credits must-see while also still progressively telling your story and showing the passage of time. Though shockingly, the sequence ends with Harvey's face being fixed, which is definitely a strange choice for a movie called Batman vs. Two-Face. So, yeah, I guess that's it, roll credits. As you could probably imagine, that's not the last time we see the other half of that character. Throughout the movie, we're shown Two-Face lurking in the shadows, despite Harvey publicly thriving since his return to norm. And the movie sets this up in such a way that it clearly wants you to believe that Harvey is no longer Two-Face, and this is instead Two-Face Part 2, or a second face. But like, who else could this be? Is this Harvey Apollo? I don't think so. But I kinda love that the movie attempts mystery in the dumbest way imaginable. Like, there's shadow over the other side of Two-Face, even when he's not in the shadows. There is nothing to cast that shadow. That is simply half an unlocked character. If this happened anywhere else, I would say that this was terrible, just god-awful, and probably unintentional. But given the information that this is a sequel to a series sans subtlety, this feels very on brand. And when we finally get the big reveal of who Two-Face actually is, it's once again Harvey. It's always been Harvey. It never stopped being Harvey. Even if Harvey is going along with his own plans reluctantly, it's still Harvey. Because despite the facial reconstruction and fixing the scars on the outside, the real issue is the ones that are on the inside. And can I just ask, how is it possible that Batman 66 understood the purpose of a character, but the juggernaut that is the Dark Knight somehow managed to get it wrong? I don't know. I'm just saying, that's just something interesting to point out. In all seriousness, I think they really made this character work in this continuity. And they did so by toning him down and reeling him back a little, but they still managed to capture the spirit of the Source. This is a character I always thought would feel a little bit out of sorts in this universe. They made it work. He fits in perfectly here. He's a great addition to this universe. I'm upset that this is the only outing we'll get with this character. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is the picture-perfect Two-Face. This isn't the new pedestal. They did do things different, and they did add things to the character. Like now, Harvey's dark side not only has the capability of taking him over mentally, but also taking over him physically as well. I don't think I'd like this change anywhere else, but here it's not bad. It fits the tone. It's obviously different, but different isn't always bad. I should also note that Two-Face proves to be Batman's most successful foe yet, managing to not only trick and trap the Caped Crusaders, but also managing to find out their secret identities. Which, to my knowledge, I believe no villain in the original series ever managed to do, despite it being very, very obvious. And I will say that William Shatner, despite his worst effort, is actually at the very least pretty passable in the role. Actually, I might even say that he's kinda good. His hammy over-the-top acting and bizarre dramatic pauses that he takes are kind of perfect for the series. And I think that they work really well when they're acted against Adam West's own bizarre dramatic pauses and over-the-top hammy acting. It's an incredible blend, and it works so well that you wonder how they haven't worked together before this. I don't know that William Shatner really cared about this role.
I'm Two-Face. Look at this, look at that.
I don't really know that William Shatner cares about most things, but...
What did you have to fundamentally understand about the Harvey Dent character to play this role?
Well, it's a cartoon.
I will say that this is some of my favorite work that he's done in years. Two-Face isn't even the only new addition to this universe. This movie also sets up several other future villains. Joining him is none other than the one-day Harley Quinn, Dr. Harleen Quinzel, whose future is even flirted with when she flirts with the Joker. And while that is a nice touch and I do enjoy it, it's really odd thinking of this Joker attempting to manipulate or seduce someone. Like how would that story play out here? Also new to the story is Dr. Hugo Strange. And he kind of plays an integral role in Two-Face's origin, being the contributing force behind Harvey's makeover due to his evil suction machine malfunctioning. And what a sentence that was. He later actually joins the dueling dual identities of Harvey Dent in his plan to turn Gotham City, more balanced, I guess. It's interesting to see this character in this environment, but he doesn't get any kind of characterization. He's just a bad guy doctor we see once or twice. And it doesn't seem like a whole lot of changes were made to his character to better fit him into what's going on here. So, his inclusion is a little bit, pardon the pun, strange. Ultimately, would I recommend this movie? Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. If you're a fan of the original series, you'll love this, as it doesn't only serve as a callback, but a step forward as well. It's a love letter to the past that's creating a future right here in the present. It's a fantastic movie, and even if you didn't watch the 60s show, I think you could still enjoy this. But to be able to really truly appreciate it for all that it is, you're gonna want to watch the original series. I give this my highest recommendation because this is almost all positive, no negative, except for maybe one or two factors. I'm really shocked and kind of sad that Batgirl never made so much as an appearance in this movie, or in the one that came before it. The audience got such little time with her that it would be really nice to extend that just a little bit more. You know, who knows what the character would be up to now? What's she doing? The lack of an inclusion is a little bit odd, especially when considering how much love there was for the show and some of its lesser remembered characters. You know, you would think that there would be a spot for the second sidekick, but apparently not so. And even more unfortunate is that prior to the movie's release, Adam West sadly passed away, never getting the opportunity to see his last effort as the Caped Crusader. The man left behind a legacy. Even as the actor and the brand were in the late stages of life, it still seemed like there was still more to do. Still more stories to tell, more memories to make. But I guess that's a sign of a good storyteller. You always leave them wanting more. This was a very beautiful way to say goodbye to a man who embodied a legend. Adam West, thank you for all of your contributions, the memories that you've left us fans with, and of course, all the dancing one can ask for in one lifetime. So in lieu of my usual closer, I'd like to leave you all with this.
I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was V Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.
Who's Adam West?
Who's Adam West?
Adam West.
Yeah.
I'm Adam West.
Adam West!
I think that's Adam West as Batman.
You're Adam West.